Hey, this is Future Abby. Before we get into TV Tuesday, I want to make a couple of notes. One, I got a new microphone. Super excited. Tested it out for the first time. Think it's pretty much an improvement. Second, I want to place a disclaimer on this episode. There's gonna be talk about cults, adult content within those cults, and body mutilation. If any of these things make you squirmy, maybe this is not the episode for you. Additionally, I also want to say my friend and I make light of things because the subject is really heavy. Just know we're just trying to keep it lighthearted. It is a really heavy subject. All right, on with the episode. Oh, and by the way, I had to record my friend through Facebook Messenger. Enjoy the quality. Yellow! Welcome to A Moment with Abby. Ding! I am here on TV Tuesday with a special guest all the way from Okinawa, Japan. Her name is Jenny. She used to be my neighbor over here, and really, I think we're pretty much sisters by now, easily.
Let's say it.
Say hello!
Hi!
Technology's so exciting!
Woo!
I had contacted Jenny last week. Actually, I think I contacted her on Saturday, and I said, you need to start watching this show.
And I've been working really hard at it. It's been my homework.
I said, you need to watch this, and then we need to discuss it. Oh, by the way, I also want you on my podcast. And she said, yes, I will be there. Over the weekend, we watched The Vow. The Vow is about the NXIVM cult run by Keith Raniere. That's correct? Yeah. And pretty much everybody thought he was so smart. They said that he had the highest IQ in the whole world, and he was a judo champion at the age of 11. His followers pretty much thought that he hung the moon. And he talked about the ESP program, which was basically just professional development to be successful in life. I have so many opinions, but I'm going to let Jenny give me her first thought after the 9th episode was done.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
What the heck is going on? That was my thought. After the final episode, I needed more.
Yeah.
What was happening, and I need more answers.
I agree. I think that they did a really good job of getting you wrapped up into this whole scenario of how do people get roped into a cult and not realize it's a cult until it's too late, but then also leave you on a cliffhanger where you think, wait a minute.
Yeah, it left you hanging, definitely. You talked about, people joining cults and stuff. One of the guys, he said, no one ever on Earth in the history of the world joins a cult. They join something that they think is great and good, and they're doing better for themselves or for the community or whatever, and then it just turns out to be freaking wackadoodle. By the time you realize how wackadoodle it is, you realize, oh crap, I'm in a cult. That's how it happens.
Yes.
No one joins a cult.
I don't want it to seem like, oh, these idiots, because at some point you see these people and they're really upset because they give this guy their whole life. Well, I should say gave them a whole chunk of their life without any questions. So the moment they start kissing on the mouth and giving hugs, I would have been like, deuces, I'm not that touchy-feely.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird.
Do we have to do that?
I'd be like, because that Allison Mack, she was the actress from Smallville, and she got heavily involved in NXIVM, where she thought that this Keith guy was like her guru, her Dalai Lama, right?
So I think we need to put it out there, though. This Keith guy, it's almost like he kind of reminds me of Charles Manson a little bit. Like, he's a little weenie guy with long hair and big thoughts. These ladies, these beautiful ladies, are flocking to his brain. It's so stupid. Looking from the outside, it is freaking ridiculous. I would have seen this fella and I'd be like, man, what are you talking? You got little man syndrome, first of all. He's like a little weenie, and he's living on his 11-year-old judo championship. Like, he keeps talking about that. Like, I don't bring up my 11-year-old self. I was really good. I could sing True Blue like nobody else. Madonna would have been proud. But I don't introduce myself that way.
People had gone back to see if any of his claims were true. There's no evidence. They were like, oh, he's so smart. His IQ is in the Guinness World Record. Apparently there's many, and he can't be found.
Yeah, so we haven't even gotten to the meat and the potatoes yet of this.
The show The Vow follows Mark, Bonnie, and Sarah through their realization that this guy is full of crap. But I also feel like I can't trust what they're saying, because it's almost like they're trying to save face throughout the whole movie or the whole TV show.
Yeah, because there was a complete 180. Like, they went from loving him to acting like he had cooties.
Yeah.
In an instant.
Right.
The only one who had any kind of, I feel like, is Bonnie. Like, she was the only one that started thinking, like, this just isn't right. And everyone's like, no, you're not right. It's right. And then everyone else was kind of like, oh, Bonnie, you were so right, later.
Right. And I think because Bonnie was starting to get wrapped up into the whole sex cult side so quickly that she was like, everybody, are you paying attention? Keith is creepy. What is going on? Why is there like secret societies and things that I'm hearing? Like, this is not normal. And then her husband's like, let's keep recording this on film so that I can put in our anti-cult movie. But I just need to see the data.
Also, it was really weird, and I found quite convenient. Everything was recorded. Like, every single thing was recorded. Their nightly walks. The guy who was making the documentary and stuff and, like, doing all the recording, he wasn't even on some of the walks. And those conversations were recorded. No one spoke without a video. Like, almost they wanted to say something like, oh, turn it on. That nothing was ever said without a recorder. And I think oddly convenient.
Yeah, but I also think Keith felt like he was so enlightened and so smart that we all needed to document what is going on, because the girl Sarah was like, I'm on a walk with Keith. It's Sarah. She kind of, you could tell it's being recorded, and she's giving the notes in the recording before, like, they start talking. But I think it's because they were all trained to start documenting, because something magical can come out of this guy. With him telling them, let's record everything, it was almost like his downfall.
Yeah, he made all the evidence against him.
One thing that I found is that they start to prey on people who want to find a purpose in life. Rich people who feel like they've just been handed this money without really working for it. Actors and actresses that rely on their good looks. We'll say, quote, good looks, or maybe just their talent. I think from what I heard, I did some research. They said that for the first 5-day class, they are sleep deprived, food deprived, and if you have a headache, they won't offer anybody medicine. So you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I feel terrible or whatever, but I paid for this stupid class. And then when you get to day 3, you're hungry, you have a headache, and you feel like you need to get your money's worth. They hit you with the, well, you feel that way because you're insecure. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's life-changing.
Yeah. Well, like I told you, I didn't realize that I'm not lazy. I'm just addicted to comfort. And that's an addiction. I have a problem. And it's not being lazy. It's my love of comfort.
Yes.
Like, I learned, and I didn't even pay him. Like, I learned that from watching this show, and I realized now that I know I have an issue, it's an addiction.
That's exactly what it is.
I could probably get some kind of medical compensation or something for my addiction.
Like, next year, I need a little bit of that Seagram's money, or whoever that alcohol family's money is.
Well, yeah, and then that part where he was talking about you don't want the low guy. If you get the low guy in here, the average Joe guy, what's he going to do for you? Nothing. You need influential, rich people in authority, and all that stuff. When they do it, it will trickle down.
Yeah.
If you get the low guy, then you're just nothing.
You were talking about how you're just addicted to comfort. I would have been a suppressor, because I would have gone in there and said, you didn't give me anything to drink. You didn't give me anything to eat. I have a headache from hell. Deuces. The money's not worth it.
I would have been one of these suckers. I really would have been. I've always said that if I was around I probably would have been in one of these communities because I am gullible. I am a public speaker's dream. You get me hyped up and I will sign the dotted line. I am on your team. I would have fell for all this crap hook, line, and sinker because they drew people in with this thought of how good, all the good you can do with yourself. And once you make yourself good, you can do good for others and just really, really good things. And it probably wasn't until like halfway through the series you started really seeing the weirdness come out, because they had you in the first couple of episodes still thinking like, okay, well, what's the big deal? Because
they're humanitarians.
they're only self-improving.
Right.
Yeah, they're just doing self-improvement stuff, you know. People go to therapists. What's wrong with that? Like, you know, that's kind of what it made it seem like until you got deep into the, what do they call it, the SOP or?
Yeah.
Oh.
The reason why I knew you would be perfect for this episode, for TV Tuesday and The Vow, because we did have this conversation, like a couple of years ago, about how, yeah, I could be in a cult, give me a keychain, hell yeah, I'm gonna be there. And I thought,
Sign me up.
So the point where I thought Jenny would have been a complete sex cult member when they were giving out belly chains.
Oh, I could have rocked a belly chain, and then everyone like swirling their belly chains around. Like, do you have your chain? Like, I got a chain. Do you got a chain?
Yes.
I'm all about the swag. Give me what's in your swag bag.
They were like, we got a belly chain. We got like secret society within a weird secret society. There was something else I had written.
We got
I thought,
sashes.
The sashes. Exactly. I thought if they give Jenny a sash and the opportunity to get other sashes, I think you would have signed up.
And have a sash collection. When Sarah had her sashes like displayed out on the table, I'm thinking, oh, we can make like a sash display case kind of thing, and like, we can bring people over and show our sashes with our belly chain. Like,
but then there would have been me just angry the whole time. Like, wait a minute, you said I get to the next step, and then I would be all angry, but like bedazzling my one little stripe. I would have gotten into way too much trouble.
I probably would have gotten in trouble too, but then I would have just like, come on, guys. Like, it was just a joke.
Vanguard is just, he gets me.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I did.
Me and Vanguard are like besties. Like, he's already asked me to move in.
So I guess I do have to preface that Vanguard is Keith Raniere. He is the head of NXIVM. And then there's the prefect, who is Nancy. They don't really go into Nancy.
No, not completely. Like, well, a little bit at the end, how they, remember where they met up and he was like, do you want to do this?
Oh, yeah.
You know, do you want to get together? But we have to do it. It's going to be for life.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So she was right there. She knew what was going on. It's kind of like an Epstein and his lady.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they were a team. The guy gets the most fault, but the lady was right there helping out and accommodating.
That's very true. So with The Vow, it's a buildup, like you said. There's a buildup of what NXIVM is, what it could provide for society and the human race, and then it kind of goes into the decline and the fall of NXIVM, and it turns into he had completely brainwashed these people so that way he could set up his own sex ring. I feel like that was like the whole, he was like, you know what, guys? We're going to get some rich people in here to help bankroll whatever, because my peepee needs a friend. It needs a few friends. Because he was promising things to all of these women with these classes that they would talk that are professional success classes. They were tearing people down, depriving them of different things. The close inner circle ended up being on call all hours of the night until he decides that he wants to talk to them. Then he starts having like these little niche classes where they start talking about the development of men as the protectors. And then they start developing women as being powerful women. And then there was this other class, and I cannot remember what the class was called, but it was Keith Raniere, quote, Vanguard talking about women use their sexuality and femininity to take one over on the guys because these guys are victims and they're being told they have to be protectors and they have to do all this because they're men, which we all know this is just Keith Raniere probably going through some type of trauma in his head from his past because his dad probably told him, stop being so feminine. In this class, he's tearing women down, and he's like, so your hair is long because you want a man to see you as a sex object. You have your shirt cut low, now you have to pay a penance for that because you want a man to see your boobs type thing. It felt like that was a lead up to the sex cult part.
He also, as much as he was tearing down the ladies, where they couldn't even speak without him cutting them off and saying, like, you did that, or you made these eyes at me, and you made me want to have sex with you. You're doing that on purpose to try to woo me into, like, your web of, you know, deceit or whatever. Yeah. And then at the same time, he's telling the men, it's your right to go have sex with whatever you want. You're a man. You need to, that's what you strive on. That's what makes you who you are. You need to have sex with this. You need to do this. You need to be strong. You need to be mean. And he was really building up one and tearing down the other.
Right. And then that leads to, at one point, I think it was like in episode 3, maybe, when they were talking about when Sarah gets out, she goes to one of the guys who was part of the protector, the male protector group, and she says, I need you to protect me. And I thought, why would he want to protect you? He's been told this whole time that a woman would use crying, because she was crying, use crying, her feminine ways, and every other thing, every trick in the book to discredit men. And she's trying to discredit Vanguard. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's not like super smart. He really crafted that one.
Very tricky. He was a sneaky fella.
Yeah, and
he came up with it when he was on one of his nightly walks.
And that's another thing. I would have never joined if he's like, come walk with me at 2 a.m. I'd be like, I'm tired.
Yeah, because they talked about, like, he would call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would jump up to go on a walk with him like it was a privilege. And I'm like, I wouldn't even answer my phone.
I would have slept right through it.
But that's part of the thing, is that they had to be on beck and call. The whole, are we going to start into the secret society? Like, what they had to do for everything?
Do you think we've had enough build up to it?
I think it's time. I think we need to break through this. It's on the tip of my tongue. Okay. I want to talk about it.
Jenny, we've discussed the surface level of this. So I found what ESP means. It's Executive Success Program, which no one was really that successful, if you would agree.
No, but it sounded very official.
It did sound official. So we are talking about the skimming of this, quote, company. Let's get a little deeper. Tell me a little bit more.
Let's find out what was underneath. Yeah. Let's peel back the layers.
Yes.
If you will.
This cult onion, if you will.
So what would you say, Abby, if I said, hey, I got this really, really neat thing that I want to share with you, but before I share it, you got to tell me something really, really personal or some kind of collateral for your life that if you go back on me, I'm going to screw you over. Would you be excited to join?
No.
Would you be like, heck yes, here's all my deepest, darkest secrets, let me in?
You know, I did think about that because at some point, this question is posed. If Jenny were my maid of honor, my BFF, my spiritual type advisor, I think I would be like, okay, let's think of something so that way I'll be more inclined to keep the secret. Tell me more.
Right, and that's what happened with Sarah. I don't have any secrets. I don't have any. And they're like, let's make something up. Let's just make something up. Yeah. And then send me a nude.
That's so true.
Like the cherry on top. Just send me a nude picture. It'll be cool. But people did it.
They did do it.
Over and over. And I can't be too judgmental because, like I said, I would have been all about it. I had my belly chain and some sashes. What else is boobs in the secret society that I'm missing out on.
I just want to know, does Collateral have an expiration date? Because it just felt like you got to keep adding to it, and I thought, I already gave you my boobs yesterday. Why do I got to give you, like, my butt today?
Yeah, so then we found out that it wasn't a one-time deal. They didn't find out until after they had already forked over what they thought was their most secretive information. Then they find out that they got to come up with something monthly.
No, like, I think it was
it just kind of on command?
It was the pyramid schemes of sex cults. You have your grandmaster, and then you have your dominant, and then they have like little slaves trickling down this big old thing under the guise of, we're going to be strong, powerful women in this thing called...
Secret society.
Yeah, in this secret society called DOS.
They said it was dominant over submissive.
Yeah, and then they changed it.
That was what they said. But then she said that it actually meant, I don't know.
It was so dumb. I'm like, you guys, you don't even know. You guys don't even know what this is. You're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants.
Okay, so let's make it like a sorority. So it's a secret sorority, and they're in it, and they feel good because they're in it. It's your best friend that's above you, so you think, like, nothing's going to happen. She's going to protect me. She's looking out for me. If anyone I can trust, it's going to be her. All of a sudden, you're, like, blindfolded and whisked off, you know, like Spirit Week or Rush Week or whatever in college.
Yeah.
And you take off your blindfold and you look around and it's like, awkward. You're surrounded by a bunch of other naked ladies.
That you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're like, okay, hey, I see your boobs. Like, like, weird.
Yeah.
But let's be all like, we're women and we're powerful and these are our bodies. Let's enjoy them. Let's love them and be proud of them. And also we have another really, really good surprise.
And I want to know, at what point, Jenny, would you say, excuse me?
I think this is the point. I think, well, maybe not, maybe if I was number one in that lineup of the ladies, I'd be like, wait a minute, what? And kind of, I think I probably might have, oops, like I don't know what's happening. If I was number 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, I would have been like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm seeing, I don't have a blindfold on anymore, and I'm seeing and hearing and smelling what's happening.
What is happening?
They are branding these women with the idea that it's the 4 elements. The roof is like the sky, and the mountains, and the river, and the ocean, and the dirt, and everything. Make this beautiful story to go along with it. But what is it actually?
It is Keith Raniere's initials with Allison Mack's all mixed up in it to make it seem like they own them.
Cha-ching! And you have to live with this. And it's one of those branding, it's like a branding pen or whatever. So it's not even
iron.
Well, no, it's not even like the iron that you like do with cattle. Like it's not just one big, it's not a sizzle. It's like they're actually with a pen, like a cauterizing pen thing, drawing this on you. And you're supposed to like get in this Zen state and just change the brain waves, the electricity in your brain to think, I am a woman and I'm stronger than this, and enjoy it. And be proud of yourself that you did this at the end.
By your
and
crotch.
Also have these initials right next to your groin. Yeah, right in there.
And that's another part of the brainwashing where this whole time they're talking about you can change your state. Well, of course. Like, if I look at this cup of coffee, I'm going to be like, yes, that makes me happy. That is awesome. But if it burns me, I'm not going to be happy. So yeah, I can change my state of being. With the brainwashing aspect of this, these women were like, I can change my state of being. I'm not really here. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I am woman, hear me roar. But really, it's Raniere. He had reprogrammed their brains to think that we can decide that fear doesn't exist here while you are cauterizing someone's weird initials by my crotch.
Yeah. Oh, also, we didn't mention with the whole brain rewiring and stuff, I don't know if everyone's aware that he cured Tourette's.
Oh, I did want to talk about that. I have it in my notes. After all of this
brainwashing and cauterizing of privates and hanging out with your friends in the nude.
But you couldn't talk about it either.
That's very true. They kind of glossed over the fact that they cured Tourette's. Excuse me?
Yeah, no one has it anymore.
You can change your state of being to decide that Tourette's doesn't live here anymore.
Because those people that are unfortunate enough to have it, they chose that. They're choosing that every day.
Right.
So he's just fixing it so that their brain decides, like, I'm done with this.
It's not something that I would think they would choose. Sorry.
No.
Oh, and they also glossed over the fact that he was like, yeah, I made new mathematics. Whatever. What is happening here?
He's so smart. His mind is so beautiful.
He was using such big words, like they were personifying the edification of the dominant fear factor of the epitome of... What? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, that's when you start using all those big words, you kind of stop listening, and then he convinces you that he just said something really good, and you're like in awe. When really you're just looking around, and probably everyone was thinking the same thing. I don't know what the hell he said, but I'm not going to look dumb.
The moment he meets Allison Mack, there's this weird, you could tell there's a weird sexual chemistry, and it's creepy. He talks about art and it making you feel a certain way, and how you are the one that decides what you feel from it. And really, art is created by people who can't do. And she was like, yeah, I get that. And I was like, what did he just say? What are you talking? They did do. It was done.
Was that while he was playing volleyball with his sweatbands on?
His low ponytail. Like, if I walked into volleyball and I see this little guy in short shorts, low ponytail, the sweat bandana, I would have been like, Jenny, where'd you bring me? The belly chain's not worth it.
I wouldn't have been able to play because I would have probably been crossing my legs trying not to potty my pants laughing so hard the whole time. And then afterwards, when they would like, let's take 5 team, and they would all sit down sweaty on the bleachers, and they would gather around him like he was going to spit out just this knowledge that was going to, just
change
fill
the world.
everyone up. Yes, and they were going to be here, and they were going to feel it and everything. And they're all just, they're still kissing on the lips during the game. There's sweatbands and sweaty people, and I know people stunk.
But we also we have to remember that this is at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, not normal hours.
Yes. No, what did he do during the day? Did he sleep during the day?
I think he's the type of guy that probably just doesn't sleep.
His mind is too busy. He can't. There's no time for that.
I do want to touch on the control aspect of the slave-dominant relationship, where you have to talk to your dominant every day. You have to check in like 100 million times a day. Your master. Yes, you have to contact your master and ask for permission to eat.
How many calories each thing that you want to put in your mouth is, and ask for permission.
And once you reached a certain weight, then you were ushered into Keith/Vanguard's bedroom. And he was like, yes, you're skinny for me, because he's tiny. So I'm thinking it's also like a self-esteem thing for him. I'll do you now that you're 100 pounds. He was promising babies to women that he was stringing along for years.
Yes. Well, didn't the one lady get pregnant and then disappear?
Yeah, she left because she was, we're not going to be involved.
Yeah, and she was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's bring in India.
Yeah.
Let's talk about India. India's grandma, she was princess of...
some European country.
Yeah, she's like a legit princess. And India's mom was a star on this classical show you may have heard of, Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, she was a princess herself.
American princess, yes.
Yes. India gets wrapped up in this hook, line, and sinker. Like, she's deep. And her mom joins forces with Mark and Sarah and Bonnie to try to pull her out.
Right.
To get her out. And that's when they go through and they try to get the FBI involved. They're trying to bring it into light that this guy's bad and he's he's got this sex cult going on, and they're trying to get him charged with sex trafficking, all this stuff. He did use his brain for this. Nothing had his name on it. The only evidence against him really were all these videos, that documentation that he did. You're following along with India's mom, but she's a little wackadoodle too. But I think it's just because she's rich and she doesn't know like real life.
So I think Mark, Bonnie, and Sarah knew she had some clout in not only the rich, high royal society, she also had some clout with the media. They had her contact people and attach her name to stuff to bring light to what's going on, because no one cared. And until the #MeToo movement that Sarah took part in, the police almost just didn't care because they were like, there's no proof.
One of them did a article for like the New York Post, and it just kept getting pushed on the side like a waiting item, like a filler, because all this other stuff was happening in the world, and it was taking precedence over what they thought was just this little filler piece. As soon as the Me Too thing happened, that's when all of a sudden it became front page news.
So another thing with this India, she has her own documentary that's showing on Starz, and it's called Seduced. In that show, they dive more into the cult aspect of it and professionals' opinions on the mind control and how these women, these grown adult women, chose to do these things, because in The Vow, they more discussed Sarah, Bonnie, and Mark trying to spin their take on everything, or how they reacted to everything, because they were really deep into it. But I think that with Seduced, India, she's able to give a more detailed story within this sex cult, because Bonnie, Mark, and Sarah were like, we don't know. Sarah was like, I got branded, and then I was like, this is weird. But I believe Seduced, which I do want to find out how to watch that, is more about the women involved in this circle. And did you know, Jenny, that not too long, I think it was over last summer or this summer even, they had women from NXIVM, DOS, dancing outside his prison, so that way he knows he's not forgotten.
No, I did not know that. That's like the Manson ladies.
Yes!
Like, walking around and doing the swastikas and stuff on their foreheads.
Yes!
Okay, so let's also bring this up. Remember, he wanted Mark to make this documentary, and they had to redo it all because he had long hair, and he thought that would make him look cultish.
Yes!
So he wanted to get, like, clean cut and everything. We also failed to mention, which I couldn't believe, because I had never heard of NXIVM until I watched this show. Just like Scientology, they were popping up centers everywhere. These centers were showing up. There was one in Mexico.
Yeah.
They had influential people involved there, and they were loyal followers down there. He ended up fleeing when, I've done nothing wrong and stuff, and then all of a sudden because they had everything, the whole neighborhood was video cameras and everything, and then all of a sudden, everyone who had deflected, like, their phones are going off, like, Keith's gone. He hasn't been on his walk tonight. Like, no one's seen Keith walk. Keith hasn't walked for 2 nights. Like, it was like big news. And then someone found him on a surveillance camera in Mexico, and that's where he was captured. And they even had, like, them laughing at the picture of him sitting in the back of the cop car.
With his long hair.
He did look like a little skinny guy. Yeah. It looked like he just lost a chess match, and his mom was bringing him home. Like, that's how... like weenie and weird he looked.
That's so true.
I want more. I need more.
He didn't really have a lot of his own ideas. He just kind of reworked things.
No. The whole time I watched it, I did think, Scientology.
I'm going to say that this whole thing, it smells too much like Scientology, but it didn't taste like Scientology. In the end, all the crap's the same. Keith Raniere from NXIVM, or that one guy from Scientology, it all comes out. All a bunch of weirdos.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, Hubbard.
Oh,
They're all the same. They're all just they all kind of smell like each other, but not really.
I feel like if you were going to join one, okay, like Scientology is like big and huge. If you join Scientology, you can get like parts in movies, and you can like get out of this stuff. Like Scientology really betters your career and all this stuff, but you just have to leave everyone and everything you know behind. You know, like, you have to do what they say. The NXIVM was kind of like, leave everything you have behind. Leave your acting career. Leave your singing career. Like, you had to give up all that stuff to join them. But look at it. Honestly, didn't V-Week look fun?
V-Week did look like fun. So V-Week was Vanguard Week, where they celebrated Keith, like his birthday.
It looked like, it almost looked like the fun that was had like in the Dirty Dancing resort. The big building behind and all the activities and fun that's happening out on the grass and the green fields and stuff. There's water activities, and we're going to do a human pyramid and just fun different things.
Oh, but
And
wait
I'm
a minute.
like,
By the way, you're going to be hungry the whole time.
Well, you're going to be having too much fun to worry about eating anyway. I was thinking about that. That's why their brandings had to be so low, so their bikinis or their bathing suits, it wouldn't show because it was a secret.
In the end, it turns out just a few months ago, Vanguard/Keith was sentenced to 120 years in prison.
It's a lot of time to think. He can fix all those people in jail. Like, he can remap all their brains, come up with some new prison therapy so that there's no more violence.
I want to know what his hair looks like. Like, is somebody braiding it? You know someone's probably braiding it by now.
So, I gotta say, he did look better with the longer hair.
No, I liked him better with, like, the more cropped hair.
Oh, see, I don't like long hair.
Mm.
Well, maybe it's because he had the beard, and I'm a sucker for a beard. So, it was long hair, beard, everything. And then when he cut his hair, it's like he had to shave, too. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing's better than that little weenie ponytail and the sweatband, though.
He was rocking it. He just thought he was a rock star. He was so happy.
That was his game. So there was only one part, and I can't even remember it now, but there was a part that Mark was kind of like confessing his feelings and stuff, but he wasn't crying. It was just emotional, like kind of from his gut, like he was just kind of letting it out. And it did seem sincere. And it might have been, was it like him and Nippy talking? Like, there was a day that, like, it was like him and somebody else. Nippy is Sarah's husband.
Yes.
That she met. So Mark and Bonnie were married, and they met through NXIVM. He pulled Bonnie in and Sarah in.
Yeah.
And then Sarah met Nippy in NXIVM. And also, Sarah came to the realization that she wasn't pulled in because she was beautiful and young and a light dinged. I mean, Sarah's pretty. She's a really pretty lady.
Yeah.
I guess she was older, a little bit older than the other ones. And she was like, hey, wait. Like, it was almost like hey, wait a minute. That's not fair. That she wasn't pulled in for her, like, money or her good looks or her body or anything like that. She was pulled into the secret society because she was a good salesman.
Yeah.
She was pulling people in left and right. She was their moneymaker. Like,
yeah.
She would have been my person. I'd been like, Sarah, yes. Thank you. Come on, Abby.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of this show, The Vow, was them trying to rewrite what happened because Sarah and Mark recruited so many people into the ESP programs, and I think they're trying to change the narrative of, okay, we brought these people in, turns out he just wants to, the Vanguard just wants to put his pee-pee in people, now we gotta get him out, and how can we save face? That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, they didn't have anything to do with the secret societies and stuff like that. But, in a way, if you look at it, they're kind of just as responsible.
They were deep. They were real deep in this in this close-knit circle of, I guess you would call them leaders in NXIVM.
Yeah, I feel like even it wouldn't be a far stretch that if they weren't the ones who deflected and started this case and everything, if it was somebody else and they were still in, they could probably have charges against them. That's how deep they were in, and then all of a sudden to turn around. So they're not completely innocent.
So do you think Allison Mack coming into NXIVM really pushed this sex cult further? Because before she even got there, I mean, he was already sleeping with people and putting them in higher positions within the company. But do you think that once Allison Mack came in and she just held on tight to this whole he's a guru, do you believe that helped push this DOS further?
Yes. Even for a while, a few episodes in, they had you believing it was her. It was her idea. She was the tip top of it. You know, all these ceremonies, all these branding ceremonies and naked parties and stuff were happening at her house. Then you find out that her and him had this conversation about it and like this beautiful thing that could become of it. They make it sound like he had nothing to do with it, but he did know what was going on. Because that was the other thing, too, that they played it like, Keith had no idea this was even happening. This was all Allison. You know, that they had everyone believing it was her, and that he had no idea, that he knew that they were going to use some of his techniques and his ideas.
His technology.
But then you find out, that he was all about it. They probably came up with it on a nightly walk.
But I also think that she was so enamored with him and more than likely fell in love with him that she would have just taken all the blame anyways. Now, it says that when I looked it up that she has not been found guilty, but I believe she did say she was guilty because she had taken credit for the branding.
Oh, she wanted her name on that?
Yeah, I believe she was so wrapped up in him, she would have just taken credit for anything to save him.
Yeah, she would have fallen on the sword for him and taken all the blame for everything.
Right.
If she could. If they had no proof, or if they couldn't find the one piece to convict him, she would have to take it away from him and to save his mind and the beautiful things that he's going to accomplish with it and how he's going to cure the world.
With his judo moves.
Yeah.
At the end of the vow, the directors start to lay out how he gets arrested and everybody's reactions to him being arrested. And then within the last, 2 or 3 minutes, they have Keith saying, let's talk about it, like with the directors, and it leaves it very much open. Jenny, will you watch season 2?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I will.
Okay, me too, and then we will discuss it again.
Yes. Also, I just want to throw this in there, how ridiculous when they were doing the whole it's not a cult thing, they got someone from Mexico who was actually legitimately kidnapped and used for ransom from his family and had his ears cut off and a finger cut off and sent to his family. They had him compare his struggle and his suffering to that of Vanguard.
For being misunderstood.
But it was like on this, yeah, they are basically on the same level.
Yeah, this guy has no outer ear.
Get out of here. Yeah, get out of here. He's missing a finger and 2 ears, but he's just like Keith. He understands what Keith's going through. Get out of here.
To just the struggle of trying to be a guru to the world and being a humanitarian. I mean, for goodness sakes,
all that weight on your shoulders.
He just wants to have sex with everyone and everyone to shut up.
Can't everyone just do what he says?
It's not hard. You get a belly chain. Come on. What more do you want?
Look, I didn't even see a chain. Did they? They never showed a chain.
They never showed a chain. I even looked online. There is no picture of a chain because I was going to send it to you. I mean, like, look what you could have gotten.
Oh, I would have been all about it. I could put like charms on it. It could have been like a charm bracelet. I could have had them dangling all around.
But where did they go for
Castle.
it? Claire's?
Or Home Depot.
Home Depot. Oh, see, I didn't even think chunky chain. I thought like dainty cute with like, wow, that got dark.
I don't know. Who knows? They didn't show it.
The possibilities are endless.
I know. Something to think about.
Well, thank you, Jenny, for joining me on this TV Tuesday, talking about
Thanks for having me.
Talking about the vow and cults and just everything in between.
I love TV.
Me too. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to me about all of this. And I miss your face. And I wish you were here. But, you know, I mean, this is the best we could do.
Aw, thank you, Abby. I love you guys so much. Mwah.
Hey, this is Future Abby. Thank you so much for listening to two ladies talk about a cult show. It was 44 minutes of just two people having a good time and laughing. So for today's good of the day, don't join a cult. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on Monday. Bye. Bye.